And starting things off, I'd better warn you to dig your heels into the floor and hang on to your seats. Because here comes Paramount's blonde bombshell with a roof-raising ditty entitled, He Says Murder. Fellas, here's Betty Hutton.
Finally found a fella, almost completely divine, but his vocabulary is killing this romance of mine. We get into an intimate situation, and then begins this Romeo's conversation. He says murder, he says, every time we kiss. He says murder, he says, at a time like this. He says murder, he says, is that the language of love? He says solid, he says, takes me in his arms. He says solid, he says, meaning all my charms. He says solid, he says, is that the language of love? He says chick, chick, you torture me, zoot, are we living? I'm thinking of leaving him flat. He says dig, dig, the jumps the old ticker is given. Now he can talk plainer than that. He says murder, he says, every time we kiss. He says murder, he says, keep it up like this and that. Murder, he says, in that impossible tone, whimpering on nobody's murder but his own. He says Jackson, he says, and my name's Marie. He says Jackson, he says, she hoot the snoot to me. He says Jackson, he says, is that the language of love? He says woof, woof, he says, when he likes my hat. He says, what the heck is that? He says woo, woo, he says, is that the language of love? He says hep, hep, with helium now, babe, we're cooking, and other expressions to wit. He says we're into groove, and to groove is good looking. He sounds like his uppers don't fit. He says murder! He says murder! And the way he says murder, in that impossible tone, I've told him over and over and over again that it'll be nobody else's murder but his own.
Betty, that was really, really solid. And many, many thanks.